Hey there. Welcome to the Gyro Step, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN, and presented by our pals at PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than, it's got a lot of active users. I have a number in my head, 10 million members. I almost said 100 million members. That's probably just too big of a number, but they're probably getting there. They're probably close. I'm Ty Windisch, one of your hosts, joined as always by my excellent co-host, Rohan Katti. We're back. We said before we started recording, feels like it's been a million years. It's been 9 days or something, but very excited to talk Bucks basketball with you after Milwaukee's win over the Chicago Bulls on Wednesday night, Rohan.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to talk Bucks. I don't want to jinx anything, Ty, but when we're not recording, the Bucks are winning basketball games because it feels like a completely different era since the last time you and I spoke on a pod. Because the last time we spoke on a pod, the Bucks were 2-8. We're doing pie charts of blame. Yep. Everything is we're grasping at straws, trying to find things. Look at us now. The Bucks have won four out of their last 5. We're doing some standings watch right now.
Yeah,
they are currently in the play-in picture, everyone, and they have the chance to, in these next couple of days, climb higher. Because good thing is, the East still terrible.
It's bad. It's a bad conference. As we record, the 76ers, who don't show up on time, they're actually within 6. They might win, so we'll make sure they lose before we say anything about that game. And the rest of the East is also not doing so hot. Indiana is going to be tied in record with the Bucks. The Bucks see Indiana on Friday. They are getting beat down by the Rockets that the Bucks just handled. It's not a good conference, to say the least. But the Bucks not going to
say the East because it's
nice.
In the East,
yeah, the least East, the Eastern Conference. The Bucks may not be a great team yet, but they certainly have at least one great player. Giannis Antetokounmpo again has really since we last spoke. Dame missed some games with a concussion because the NBA felt like rigging the Bucks games results with the refs wasn't enough, so they had one just clock Dame, missed 3 games with a concussion. Still not looking great out there, but I think the silver lining of that is Giannis having to play with no Dame so much, and of course no Khris, who we'll talk about his injury update. I think the Giannis and friends lineups look better than ever. I think Giannis leaned into passing more outside of that Pistons game where just nobody could do anything and he scored more. And he had 41 points. Maybe not the best stat to drive home is passing, but also 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal in this game. 17 of 24 from the floor. Continues to own the Chicago Bulls. But what have you seen from Giannis, as the Bucks have strung together these wins, Rohan?
I've seen a lot of decisiveness. I've seen a lot of just patience with the basketball. We're used to seeing Giannis when there's no Dame or any other creator on the court. We're used to seeing Giannis do that straight up, go at the top of the key, attack 1-on-5 basketball. A lot of that. A lot of what we're seeing now is more post-ups, more post touches, more elbow touches where he's operating the offense out of there. We're seeing him communicate. We're seeing him set way better screens.
Yep.
He's operating really well out of the short roll. We're seeing a lot of just polish on one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball, which feels unfair.
Yeah.
Because he's been so good, so dominant, and yet he keeps adding these little things that we see throughout the season. I think one of the players that exemplifies that the most, and we'll talk about him later for sure, is AJ Green. And I think Giannis and AJ Green have developed so much good chemistry. There was one play in this Bulls game, not to just touch on the Bulls game, but a lot of these games.
We just saw it. I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, go ahead.
There was a play where AJ Green sort of on the wing at the 3-point line gives the ball to Giannis. Giannis sort of posts up, gets baseline, and AJ just manages to find his way over to the corner. Giannis sees him, throws a blind pass to the corner, knowing AJ Green is going to be there, and just tears apart that set defense from the Bulls, which is sending 2 or 3 guys at him at a minimum. And it's just that presence of mind to know, hey, I know that AJ is going to be over here. He's going to read the space, relocate, make it an easier pass for me. And that trust in his teammates, it's incredible to see because now you can unlock that passing game, which in turn unlocks his scoring ability because teams have to be, oh man, he's going to make that right pass. Oh, can we send 3 guys at him? If we send 2, he's probably going to score anyway. So it's a lot of that dilemma. And it's been really, really fun and good to see from Giannis operating such a high level of basketball in all facets. And by the way, he's still scoring so much.
Well, that's the thing. You know, we're calling out like, oh, we need Giannis to play a different way. It's like, oh, you want Giannis to score, 15 points a game? No, I thought Giannis played an unselfish brand of decisive basketball tonight, and he had 41. Like, those gaps are going to be there, and they're going to be bigger, to your point, when he is getting the teammates more involved, and just when the teammates are more involved. And obviously, it is a two-way street, right? You know, if he's spraying out passes and everyone's just puking the ball up into the stands, maybe he's going to stop doing it. It's not going to change the defense. I mean, late in this game, Dame hit his second of 10 attempted threes pretty late in the fourth, and like the Bulls just ignored him. I mean, they were just like, all right, like if you're just not going to shoot well, we're just not going to cover you. Thankfully, he made that one, and it kind of sealed the game. But it's a two-way street with the ball movement, but it takes Giannis buying in to start. If Giannis isn't buying into it, it just really can't happen because of how important he is to the team. And I think he has found a perfect balance there. I also think defensively, he's been even more involved. He's been tremendous. I mean, he wasn't lighting up on the stat sheet, 1 steal and no blocks, but I thought his help rotations down as the low man have been really, really good and really impactful to the Bucks defense that I saw my guy Justin Garcia shared. Let me see if I can get an updated stat here. They were like 5th in November after Tuesday's game in defensive rating among NBA teams. So a pretty huge jump there from a team that
you have to say among NBA teams.
Among NBA teams, yeah,
we're so used to qualifying it. It's like, oh, against like the Eastern Conference or something like that. No, we're talking about the whole league here.
Let's see, down to 8th according to NBA stats in November, but I'm not sure if this has the latest game or not.
Who knows? It's NBA stats, so probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But they were 5th, I guess. I don't know if a couple teams leapfrogged them or what, but they are 0.4 out of 6th, 0.4 points per possession. So still a top 10 defense, still a big improvement on that end for the Bucks.
Yeah, it's great to see the Bucks are acting a little more precise on defense. And one player I want to call out in particular, and it's not the reason you may think, is Brook Lopez. And one thing that I've noticed during these last couple of games where the Bucks are starting to really lock into place is Brook Lopez and his contests on the perimeter. Yeah. That dude is sprinting.
Yes.
Like it's if you are Gary Trent Jr., if you're Taurean Prince, if you're DeLon Wright, if you are the version of Pat Connaughton that gets minutes, you see Brook Lopez out there sprinting towards the perimeter. You're like, what's my excuse?
Right. Yes. There isn't one, is the answer to that rhetorical question.
Yeah, because you've seen Brook Lopez really dial it up on both ends. That's led to a lot more, I'll say, predictability on the offensive end, where it's just a lot of trail threes because he's expending so much energy on those contests on the defensive end. And to be clear, it's only late in shot clocks when he's doing that, which is proof that the Bucks defense is getting a lot better because we're getting late shot clock scenarios, which is something that we haven't seen from the Bucks all season long. So it's really like the signs are there, like whatever spot they are in November, sure, but a lot of the signs are there in terms of the Bucks and their defense really, really picking up.
Yeah, and I think Brook offensively, 2 for 5 from deep, you'll always take that. Brook 40% on the threes he takes when, we've talked about defenses are like, you know what, go ahead, Brook Lopez. We'd rather have you do that than a lot of other players on the team shoot. And he'll do it. And again, it's like, it's better than the record scratch moments, I think, when he does it. But 7 for 7 from 2 in this game. And the Bucks were finding him in all sorts of ways. Like, I don't think he's the traditional post-up player anymore. I just don't think. The one thing about Bobby Portis, who I'm sure we'll get to a little bit later, his post-ups are often bad, but you see why they go to him more because he moves quicker out of them. Like, he can repost, like spin into a dribble. Brook, I think he's just a little too prone to getting swarmed when you just do the traditional post-ups, but they're getting him rolling toward the rim. They're throwing him lobs. Like, he jumped up and made an athletic one-handed grab like freaking Odell Beckham Jr. at one point.
He looked like the other AJ Green out there.
Yeah, that's a great pull as well. Ended up scoring that one, but these teams, like when they either put a small on him or Vucevic isn't tiny, but he's not as big as Brook Lopez. I think the Bucks are more often, to your point on like Giannis in the post, they're kind of playing out of the post more in general and just having this like big centric offense. And either the bigs are posting and then everyone rotates and cuts around them, or the bigs are just DHO. Like, we've never seen the Bucks run this many DHOs. I mean, that's the offense now. Is like these are the things I think we take it for granted now. But you watch these games, it's like, oh my God, Giannis fakes 2 DHOs, spins into a dribble, passes, rescreens. Like, they are getting into more actions, like light stuff that feels easy. It feels common for them. They didn't always play this way. And I think the movement has been really good for their offense, even though their results stink. They are a bottom 10 offense in November. Again, before this game, like, they just need some of these guys to knock down some of these shots. I mean, the Bulls game started, the Bucks just like clanked like 4 straight open threes. It was 0-0 for a few minutes. I think the looks are good. They just need more guys to cash in.
Absolutely. They just need more guys to cash in. And because the looks are looking good, like you're mentioning. And a lot of that comes with maybe the personnel out there. I mean, you see a lot of Andre Jackson Jr. shots. We'll get into the rotation a little bit.
Yeah. A lot to talk about with the rotation.
Some Gary Trent Jr. looks, which are starting to hit. Like that.
Quickly on him. We need to shift the, oh my God, he's never going to make a 2 from AJ to Gary.
Yeah.
Gary's threes look great. His 2s are disasters. Every time he's in the arc, I'm just like, how did this guy score 17 points?
I want to know what curse is on the Bucks where their starting 2 guard is just like, what?
AJ Green is the prince who was promised.
It truly is. But it's like, what happens? Like, what happens? Malik Beasley stops being in this role and turns into Kobe. And then we see Gary Trent Jr., who has been a dynamic player for his whole career, come into the Bucks and is immediately just nerfed. What's going on?
So before we started recording...
What is this voice? It started before we were recording, but we're still doing it.
You're incredulous. The Hawks are in 5th before games end tonight. And we were looking at the games. Oh, hopefully Golden State can come back. They were like down 1. I think it was 17-16. It's now 37-17 Golden
38?
State. 38-17 Golden State. So so far a night of good results in the NBA. The Sixers did lose also to the Grizzlies. So very, very funny outcome for Philly. Hopefully Paul George isn't seriously hurt. That's not funny, but the losses and Embiid being late to everything is frankly hilarious. Did you see the elephant in the room investigation? So an anonymous source. I'm sorry. We need to talk about this.
Okay,
we'll get back to the Bucks. We need to talk about this because, like, you know, like you're having a bad day and Cops comes on and you watch it. You're like, look at this idiot. It makes you feel better about yourself. That's
never
Bucks
watched
fans.
Cops in my life.
I haven't either. I heard people do that. I watched it
so
once.
So why is that your go-to expression?
I don't have a lot of time, Rohan. I want to like hold on a second. Let me file through here for the best. No, I'm grabbing something, I'm throwing it, and I'm going. And I grabbed Cops. I watched it. I did watch it once. It is an entertaining show, but I don't like reality TV. Regardless, it's a feel good. I could have just said that. It's a feel good thing. So if you're not caught up at all, there was an hour and a half long meeting after the Sixers was at the Miami game when they had the big lead on Miami. It's always funny, these games when both fan bases quit on their team at various points in the game. Like I saw Miami people being like, trade everyone in the first quarter. And then it got so bad for Philly, they had to have a 90-minute meeting afterward. Apparently, Maxey calls out Embiid and says, hey, stop being late to everything, which is like a really sad thing to have to say from one all-star to another. But we found this out because an anonymous source, of course, said to Shams, I believe of ESPN now, that, you know, Maxey respects the big fella, but it's the elephant in the room. He's late for everything. And one of these Raptors account was like, we know who the leak was. With like 5 different times, Nick Nurse used the expression elephant in the room to describe the Raptors.
Specifically, the locker room situations. it was so good. Because elephant in the room is a fairly common expression. It's one even I know, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But when it's specific to locker room troubles.
Yeah, it's not one you would think of for that situation.
Not really, especially when it's like, this has happened throughout Embiid's career.
Yeah.
Like there was an I forget where it was from. It was from some Philly media. I apologize. Where there was a story about Embiid and Brett Brown, like the coaches.
Jan Weitzman's book.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Where the assistant coaches had to go to Brett Brown and say, we got to talk to you about Joel. He's disrespected just about everyone. Brett Brown's like, what?
Brett Brown
What is
came
that?
off horrible in that passage. He's like, nobody told me. One of the coaches is like, we did tell you. Brett Brown's like,
Not enough. You didn't tell me directly. It's like, ooh, maybe you're not setting a good workplace culture then, Brett Brown.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. And it feels so good that it's the Sixers.
Yeah.
Like
Doc
there's
revenge tour.
Honestly, I saw some Philly Stan account tweeting like, oh, back in the good old days of ball movement, and it was this crisp passing video. I was like, that's Doc Rivers basketball right there. It was under Doc Rivers.
Honestly, this worked out great as a segue to talk about Doc a little bit. I really like the things he has the Bucks doing. And it's not all him. The whole coaching staff. We try to say this every time. But
Joe Prunty is in the second row, by the way. I don't like that.
That's tough. Well, maybe it's like a better vantage for him. I don't know. But I don't love that. They have too many coaches at this point. He talks about ball movement so much. And like he said after the Rockets game, like third quarter, that can't happen. Like we just need to move the ball. I was watching the interviews with the young players after that the Raptors win where Ryan Rollins got hurt. And they're asking them about like the ball, like the importance of ball movement and like how much it means for Giannis and Dame to keep moving the ball. And Ryan Rollins, who just played in like his second real Bucks game ever, is like, that's how we should play every time, in my opinion. Like AJ is like, I love it when the ball's popping. We're a different team. These guys are screaming in the only way they can. Like, please keep passing the ball. Please keep passing the ball. Like we're such a good team when you do it. That's a Doc thing. Doc is saying all the time, we need to pass the ball more. Defensively, we need to just be more active. We need to rotate better. And to his credit, has been very, I would say, proactive, like about as proactive as I can remember an NBA coach, certainly a Bucks coach, in moving the rotation to shape what he's saying.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen like the young guys who are playing and like moving more and being more active get more time to shine. Obviously, we saw the starting lineup change. That's been in effect a while now, and we've seen good results out of that. Whether it is AJ Green or Andre Jackson Jr., depending on when Dame was available, we've seen that pay dividends. We've seen Pat Connaughton now. That's 2 straight DNP CDs.
Yeah, man. And there's no injury. The people wondered this. Doc said after the game, oh, it just happened like that. You know, I'm not saying he's not out of the rotation. He just didn't happen to play. And now, despite Ryan Rollins still not being back, Khris not being back, he just did not happen to play again.
Which is a sign of that youth movement really coming to fruition. We were wondering when we were going to see this, if we were going to see this from this Doc Rivers team. We are seeing it. It's here. It's here, and it's really well. Like DeLon Wright, who's another vet on the floor, getting 12 minutes. It's just a shade under 12 minutes in this Bulls game, even including that minute and a half of garbage time. Does that exist if Ryan Rollins is healthy? I don't think so.
I wanted to pose that question to you.
I don't think it does.
I agree with you. I mean, Rollins' 2 full games as a Buck were way better than anything we've seen DeLon Wright do.
Because we're seeing such good point guard play out of him, and it doesn't matter that he's a 2-way contract, which, if I had to make a prediction, that's not going to stick around for very long.
They don't have to be in a rush. I mean, especially with this injury. He gets 50 games, so he's got a lot of games to go.
Is that 50?
Yeah, well, it used to be days, so it was more complicated. I don't know how they ever tracked it, so now it's just games.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, the first time they did it was days. Like it was like the first 3 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, for a long time. I was always like, who at the NBA is tracking this?
You just have to self-report it.
Well, they probably just do like, okay, how many days was he not assigned to the G League? I would guess because it's
days
somewhere.
Are part of the active roster.
Oh yeah, well, no, because I think it was a really high number. I thought they just counted. Yeah, maybe that's it, but not like just for games. Because I think they counted practices too.
They did count practice. It was. I'm glad they went away from.
Yeah, it's much simpler to say 50 games.
But yeah, we've got some time for that. But I mean, Marjan's still on the team, so. Hey, Rich Paul's working on it. Don't worry.
He's not working hard enough.
You saying that is going to get you blacklisted from everything.
Oh, yeah. All the access I have now. Rich Paul's going to make the call to Herd Media Room.
Listen, they can't turn down Ty Windisch at the Herd Media Room.
I did watch his client, Chris Livingston, ball out Tuesday night.
Yeah, what do you have, 27?
Yeah, Stanley Amude. I always want to put I don't know where I get that extra syllable from. Emmanuel Mudiay, maybe? I think I'm blending those names together. Stanimal 2.0 had a great game, great first half, but CL took over in the second half.
Yeah, but getting back to Doc's rotations, we've seen a lot of good things out of Doc in terms of who's playing and the pulse of the game. Like you're seeing, like consistently, AJ Green get the same or more minutes than a Gary Trent Jr., who's even found like his shot again. You're seeing like Pat Connaughton not sort of get phased out of the rotation. You're seeing Ajax play big minutes in some of these games. I know it's been a little bit of a downtrend recently, but what did he play against? He played 32 minutes against the Hornets. I don't even want to talk about that game.
Yeah.
But it's been a solid trend of, these young guys are going to play. They're going to, the guys who are moving, the guys who are pushing the pace, the guys who are playing fast and playing to this team's strengths, those are the guys that are going to play.
Second half minutes. Giannis leads the way with 17:55, predictably. And again, this would have been probably a little bit higher if there wasn't garbage time at the end, but it's thankful that there was the minute and a half of garbage time. Dame right behind him. Didn't have a good game, but you gotta trust Dame. You can't pull a Charles Lee. Bold move from former Bucks associate head coach Charles Lee saying, yeah, we pulled LaMelo because we liked what Trey Mann was doing a little bit more. Bold move in November. Brook Lopez next at 16:40. AJ Green 5 seconds behind Brook. Played from like around the halfway in the third quarter. The Bucks just had no answers for LaVine. They had throw AJ Green on him. Suddenly they had an answer for LaVine. I mean, the defense on him was exceptional. He got blown by once, but help came. Shout out to Dame, actually, for great timely help. And then AJ recovered and played well from there. But I want to say LaVine, in my tracking, which is just me watching and thinking about it, probably 1 for 4 against AJ Green. I don't know what he was against everyone else, a lot better. But AJ played from around the middle of the third quarter until the game was over, it felt like. Doc was just like, yeah, I'm not pulling him. He's playing far too well. And it was the right call. I mean, it was a phenomenal game from AJ. And I joked about this earlier. He should start at the 2. I don't care who's healthy. He should start at the 2. I just think he's a better player than Andre Jackson Jr. I like Andre Jackson Jr. Fun player. Gives them a lot of energy, athleticism. Him and Giannis together, still very bumpy ride at this point. AJ's a great defender too. Like, and what he does for their offense is a huge deal. Like, this is a no-brainer to me.
Still the best perimeter defender on this team.
I agree.
It's like, just watch the games. I know Andre Jackson Jr. We had too many freaking AJs. I'm sorry.
I know.
But I almost turned that into an explicit pod for a second.
Yeah, almost. Well, we'll get there when Steve Novak throwing shade at Robin Lopez. We'll get there. So,
that just made me mad.
Yeah.
But AJ Green, like, I know Andre Jackson Jr. is like all the stats about his field goal percentage that he holds opponents to when he shoots. It's great. I'm not trying to diminish what Ajax is doing on the defensive end. He is still a very, very, like, he's a plus defender for sure. I think AJ Green is way more consistent, can guard different types of players. I think Ajax is more suited for like a small guard who he can just overpower. Meanwhile, you can put AJ Green on guards, but you can also put him on big wings. That dude is long. That dude is strong. Dude's farmer strong. Yeah,
he is. I totally agree with you. I also think I think the defense, even if you don't want to say he's better, I think you have to at least say it's close. If you really watch AJ Green play versus Andre Jackson Jr., the offense is not close. Like, there's a wide chasm in usefulness. I mean, AJ, he had like probably a 2 or 3 game slump where I still thought he played good minutes overall because he does everything else well. 6 for 9 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3 in this game. Here's a take. He should start. A second take. Put 100% of his minutes with Giannis, because every time they interact, it's a good look for the Bucks offensively. Like, defenses cannot handle a simple DHO or pick and roll with those two. And Giannis, you can tell, is feeling it because, Giannis, you watch during the games, he favors certain guys and he ignores other guys. Like, if Giannis isn't feeling you, he's not a go to the media guy. He's a go to the rack instead of looking at you if you're a wide open guy. You can see it with Damian Lillard sometimes in these games. AJ Green's out there. He's like, all right, I'm going to screen and rescreen for AJ. Like, I'm going to DHO with AJ. Let's bring him back over. Let's run. Like, you can tell. I'm going to get him. Let's position the floor. You can see Giannis play chess a lot more, to your point about him in the post of like, all right, you go over there, you go over there, you cut here. AJ's the guy who wants one pass away in the Khris Middleton role for obvious reasons. It's dynamic. I mean, they're good. I would say in all the minutes they'll play together. I'll pull up the lineup data on it right now. But and maybe not 100% of the minutes, but I want them to play a ton of minutes together.
And I think that's such a good combo for all the reasons that you said. And another good combo is Dame and Ajax. Like it fits so well to have those two like mirrored. It's like each one of them gets their own little young guy to like carry around in their purse, you know? Like it's like
their satchel.
Yeah, what's wrong with purse?
Nothing.
So why'd you change it?
I was adding a word.
That's fair. Satchels are nice. Satchels are coming back.
I have a satchel. That's why I added it. I don't have it. It's not in the room with me. I have a blue satchel.
Ooh, I like that.
Clearance at Target.
Windisch.
It's a little capricious. It's a little big. Wouldn't call it a fashionable item. Yeah.
I'll without seeing it, I'll say it's fashionable.
Thank you.
But they each get their own young guy to really like pair with them really well.
Yeah.
And it works. Like one of the reasons Ajax is really successful with Dame is he can take care of those guard defensive assignments. You can go hide Dame somewhere else. Like there were possessions in this Bulls game where we saw a sort of Dame kind of go on like guys like Torrey Craig. You were able to hide him there. Yeah. They exploited that a little bit. Yeah. But you can just go hide him somewhere else because you have like another dog defensively to go take on these guard assignments. And that's why those two work really well together. Plus, you don't have to worry about the spacing issues of having Giannis and Ajax on the court at the same time. Because if Giannis isn't on the court, Ajax can just eat up the space and Dame can operate on the perimeter as he likes to do. And for all the reasons you said, like I said, AJ Green pairs really, really well with Giannis. I think that's a good way of matching the minutes going forward, just to see like, okay, in those non-Giannis minutes, what's going to happen? Okay, we're going to have Dame, we're going to have Ajax, we're going to have probably Bobby, we're going to have TP out there. It's some machinations of that are going to work. Then when Dame is off the court, Giannis is out there, we're going to see Brook, we're going to see AJ Green, we're going to see Gary Trent Jr., we're going to see DeLon Wright or Ryan Rollins, whoever's playing in that game. Those are the lineups. And then obviously you get to see like the Voltron lineups with Giannis and Dame on the court at the same time. This team is really, really finding recipes for success within each other. And this is one thing we talked a lot about before the season started and kind of just got jolted by this horrendous start that the Bucks were on, is that this team still is very versatile. There's so many different ways you can construct lineups. There's so many different ways you can play, so many different styles, because you have so many fun pieces to really mix and match and interchange who all have different skills but can play different ways. And it just works, man. It just works.
NBA stats has given me like 5 different numbers. I'm trying to pull this lineup data. I don't know. It's saying net rating of plus 0.8 in 11 games with Giannis and AJ Green. That doesn't seem right. Regardless,
while you're looking at that, this is for the YouTube viewers. Why is a standard like mug why is the handle so small? Like this like my hand is as big as this freaking mug.
What was I trying to the ones that come with an espresso? It's all just like glass, like see-through glass. It's impossible to hold it like in the middle.
Yeah,
it slides. Cup, yeah. No, it's a full coffee cup. It's a full coffee cup. Not even this. It's like a coffee cup that comes with it because they can do full coffee. Still small, but it's I don't like a bad mug. I agree with you.
It's like I can only fit 2 fingers in here.
So look at it. This does not have anything in it, but this is much bigger. I still do 2 fingers, but I could get more.
But it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's stop fingering.
I hope you got the lineup data this time.
Yeah, we're just going to move on. Let's stop fingering and talk about our friends at PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 10 million members, not quite 100 million, maybe since press time here. But you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. We've been playing all season long since last season. We're hoping to continue working with PrizePicks for a long, long time. You can download the app today and use code Gyro Step, all one word, to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup, of course. Rohan, do you have a recent lineup you'd like to discuss and share with the class?
I do, as I try to pull it up right now. It's been a little bit of a weird stretch for the Bucks. However, I have had some successful flex plays on PrizePicks.
Love a flex play.
So if we go back to the Raptors game, because it's been a while since we recorded.
Yeah.
There's the projections for Taurean Prince rebounds was 4. What do you think I did?
I almost think you did more than.
I did. I was right. 7 rebounds for Taurean Prince.
TP.
Brook Lopez, projection of 13 points. What do you think?
Did you go more?
I went less.
Oh.
But here's the thing. He got 13.
Oh, there you go. It's a
wash.
Yeah. Wait, was it 13 or 13 and a half?
It was 13 even.
Oh, dang.
So it was a wash.
But still not bad. Just removes it. Yeah.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, demon time. 0.5 3-pointers made. I went more than, because you can only go more than on demon. Didn't make a 3 in that game.
I tried that play. I might have been that same game, actually, because we are lined up. I like that demon time, too. He did not look. I think he only took 1. It didn't go in. I think I would have went 3 for 3 if he hit that. Anyway, go on.
And then Ochai Agbaji, projection of 4.5 rebounds. I went more than. Same was TP. He had 7 rebounds.
Nice.
So even though it was a reboot on Brook Lopez, 2 out of 3, that's a win on a flex play.
That's a dub. We talked about this. We used to always go like, I need 6 plays. Let me hit the big number. Big. You know what? Sometimes you just got to take it easy. It's like when you're a shooter, like AJ Green. Go make a free throw, then get locked in. I'm going to try to knock down a couple 3, 4 play projection boards before I go for another 6, or unless I feel really good about all 6.
And here's the thing.
Maybe tomorrow.
After that, I had a successful flex play on NFL Sunday.
Oh, I love the NFL.
There we go.
ones.
3 out of 4. There we go. Jonnu Smith, Matthew Stafford, Tutu Atwell doing it for me. Devon Achane couldn't. But you know what? Flex play is still a win.
It's still a win. We love to see it. You can get on the action too with basketball, football. Trying to think of what other sports. Hockey. The hockey's on there. I don't know anything about hockey, but if you do, you could participate in that as well. We got college sports kicking up as well. Download that PrizePicks app today. Use code Eurostep, or you can find the link in our description. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup, win or lose. PrizePicks, run your
esports
game.
Too. You can do Valorant. You can do Dota.
Oh,
competitive play.
Wow. I'm taking Rohan more than Rocket League goals next time he plays me one-on-one. I'll tell you that much. I will tell you that much. Okay. What else? What other Bucks things do you think we should talk about?
Before we get into like newsy things?
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, we've talked a lot about how these different players are fitting together. Again, a bright spot continues. One guy I don't think is getting enough love is Taurean Prince, man.
Yeah.
He's just solid. He's everything you could want in that role. And again, he's going to look so much better coming off the bench if that ever happens. Which was, but one guy I don't think we highlighted was Bobby Portis. A guy who's playing faster, a guy who's doing more offensively. I've posed this question a lot on this podcast, is that what do you do if you're Bobby Portis and you're not posting up every possession? That's what I want to know, and that's what I want to see. A lot of this Bulls game and a lot of these games during this winning stretch has been Bobby Portis setting screens. It's been him involved in double drag actions. It's been him sort of running some DHOs. He's been passing more. This is a crazy stat. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I saw this floating around out there, and who knows what's true or not. The Bucks are like 15-0 when Bobby Portis has 4 or more assists in games.
Wow. I have not seen that stat. I wonder if I can pull that up quickly. He had 6 in this game, and they did win. He had some rough turnovers. I also think, to your point, I agree with all that offensively. He still posts up sometimes, but it's not as much. They're trying to run offense through him in the post. Defensively, I feel like they're shifting him more and more away from being the design big. And they're just saying, like, go switch and stay in front of people. And I think they do that. I don't think he's a glaring hole on defense when they do that.
I think, according to StatMuse, which can be wrong, it's 5-0, not 15-0.
Still striking. but they are just selling him to basically be a big wing defender, which I think is what you have to do. We've talked about this going back to the Bud era now. Like, he can't drop. He can switch.
That Bud era in Atlanta with Brook Lopez, as Doris Burke was talking about. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't. Was that today? I watched Bally and
I watched ESPN because Bally Sports, that's FanDuel Sports.
FanDuel. Oh, yeah, damn. FanDuel Sports. Sorry, FanDuel. No, not really. Not our sponsor.
Use Prize.
Redacted Sports Network.
Doris Burke was like, yeah, Brook Lopez, when he was down in Atlanta with Mike Budenholzer, he never really shot any threes. I'm like, he was where?
What are you talking about?
And then Mark Jones was like, Doris, the place where he made that transformation, Brooklyn.
She was wronger than fish grease. That didn't make any sense.
Fish grease can be wrong depending on the context. You want to comb your hair? Don't use fish grease. That's
I mean, for a vegetarian, it probably can't really be right. I can't think of any context.
I will never use fish grease.
You're never looking forward to fish grease anywhere. There's not one situation where
fish grease is just always wrong.
Fish grease, yeah. I'm not looking. To be frank, I don't think there's many meat eaters out there or pescatarians even. Like I never want to see fish grease. Just the grease.
What is fish grease even used for?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm out of my depth here. I don't want to sound foolish. I don't know if I want. I mean, I guess like if it's a fish fry, that would be fish grease. So I guess I wouldn't mind seeing it from far away if I saw someone making a fish fry, because I like a fish fry, but I don't want to just encounter fish grease throughout my day. Certainly not if the fish isn't actively involved.
So I googled
just the grease.
I googled uses for fish grease, and Google is garbage nowadays.
Yeah,
like one of the people also ask is what to do with fish grease. The first thing, throw it in the trash.
Yeah, you don't want to encounter it. That's for sure. But anyway, that's
Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis. He's been righter than fish grease, even though I haven't loved every minute of the games. But I think
it's been better than we've seen.
Yeah, 100%. 6 assists for him tonight. He was third on the team behind Giannis and Dame. He is an offensive hub, and they need him, especially with Khris out, especially if Dame's not going to be still looking 100% or in a slump or whatever. Like, they do need him to do that. The issue now is they're almost like admitting, like, yeah, he's not really a big, though. Like, he's bigger, and he helps them on the glass.
Finally.
But they're playing him less and less. It's good, but they still need that true backup center, I think. Because I think that would even help Bobby look better if he retained on the roster after the move. Charlotte and Portland have too many, and I would look at those teams as the Bucks get closer to the trade deadline. Because
Robert Williams,
Duop Reith isn't even playing. If you want to look at
the
smaller salary, your guy. And then Diabate for Charlotte looks legit, which could put Nick Richards in a pretty interesting spot. My beloved Nick Richards.
Yeah. Diabate looked solid against the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, he's raw, but it's kind of like Ajax. Like, he's got some stuff he can do, and it's going to keep him useful.
Yeah, 100%. Plus, he's still, like, what is he, 22?
Yeah,
still
rookie, right?
No, he's not a rookie. I think he's a...
Second year? Thought he was a rookie.
Third-year player.
Oh, wow. I did not see much of him before. Was he on the Clippers?
He was. First 2 seasons on the
Clippers. So I did. I thought that was the same player, then I thought it wasn't. I thought I read he was a rookie. Anyway, doesn't matter. But I think I agree with you. I think Bobby's getting closer. I think he's buying in too. I think the whole team is buying into what they need to do. The ball movement that we've stressed, you're seeing it more on every player. I will say, biggest offender to me these last 2 games, the reason he got a down stock the game before this one, Dame. He gets 10 assists per game. There are still too many possessions where he just dribbles the air out of the ball and takes a shot. And I don't think I would care if he was shooting the way he normally shoots, but he isn't, and it's jarring.
That's why I give him the benefit of the doubt, though, because like, come on, it's Damian freaking Lillard.
Yeah,
like, I get like he's dealing with a concussion. It was honestly a bit wrong for us to give him a down stock after that Houston game, considering he had coming back from an injury, and usually we give like a game of protection. However. Yeah. We didn't give him a down stock for the Bulls game, which kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's a good point. I didn't think of the injury aspect from the Houston game.
But we evened it out. But Damian Lillard, I mean, this is a guy who, if you want this team to be as successful as it hopes to be, which is still, no matter what their record is, still a title contender. That's their goals. That's their aspirations. You need Damian Lillard to be Damian Lillard. You need him to be able to get those shots off the dribble when he wants to, because he can be in a groove when he does that. We might have not seen that from 3-point range, but we're seeing it a lot in the mid-range. He was attacking Vooch in the Bulls game. Just easy sidestep mid-rangers. Looked like he was putting no effort into it because he's done literally millions of those shots in his lifetime. And that's like, I'm okay with that. Honestly, like whatever stretch or slump he's going through, I don't want him to change who he is as a player, because you need him to be that confident, irrational guy who has the potential of putting up 70 points in a basketball game. Like, you need that. If you're the Bucks, you absolutely need that. And if you want to be able to build that trust with Giannis and get that partnership really going, you need Dame to be Dame. And I think he's passing enough. Like, he's getting like double-digit assists nearly on a regular basis. Are there some shots where it's like, it would have looked a lot better if it went in? Yeah. And it looks worse that it didn't. But also, I trust the guy, I trust the pedigree, and I trust what this team needs out of him.
That's fair. I'm probably being hard on him just because of the slump.
If it continues for another like 5 or 6 games, then we'll.
It's just, I just feel like the flow of the whole team looks so much different. The floor gets stagnant, and I don't care if he's going to take these shots. My thing with, and Giannis as well, has been, take that. You have that shot whenever you want it, right? Like, let's try and like swing the ball a few times. Let's see if we can get a role player a look. Keep these guys moving, like keep the momentum going there. And then, all right, 12 seconds left, nothing. Kick it back out to Dame and let him do what he does. That I would just prefer a bit different order of operations. If he feels like it's a good shot, take it. There's just like 2-3 possessions in a row. And he's like, okay, sizing up the guy, doing my step back, clank, clank, clank. And it's given the other team some momentum to make some runs. But I understand what you're saying, and I think I'm probably nitpicking at this point.
Yeah. Also, congrats to the Memphis Grizzlies for beating the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yep.
The 2-12 Philadelphia 76ers.
Hey, on November 20th, the Bucks could not imagine being out of the play-in.
No, never.
On the evening of November 20th. On November 21st, the Bucks, it's unthinkable.
Just horrendous. Imagine your season.
All the way up to 9th. They were moved to 10th, now they're up to 9th, but the Indiana loss is official now.
Wow, look at that. The Bucks are really moving on.
Look who's in 15th. The Philadelphia 76ers.
Behind the Wizards of Washington.
And the Raps. So they were all tied, and it was funny because the Bucks were in 11th entering games today as we record. And I was like, they're actually closer to 5th than they are 12th or 13th, because the teams behind them are there's these groups forming that always happens, right? So there's the top 2 teams, Cavs and Celtics. Then there's the Magic and Knicks in their own thing. Then between the Hawks in 5th, and they are probably going to drop, and the Hornets in 12th, there's a 1.5 games total between 12 and 5. So all of those teams are clumped together.
The Bucks are as close to 3rd as they are to the Sixers. 3.5 games.
That's not that comforting because of how bad the Sixers have been, but it is illustrative.
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah.
Do we have any more good things to talk about before we talk about the bad?
We touched on it, but I do want to say Gary Trent, just even finding the rhythm from 3 is a big deal. Had one of the worst defensive possessions I've seen in this game. I don't even think there was a screen. He just like went the wrong way, and this guy went the other way, and I was just like, you're locked in. Okay, but has been knocking down threes. He did not start this game, Rohan. You can't hit him with a curse when he came off the bench for starting.
Signed to be the starting shooting guard. How about that?
If he had to make that sacrifice for AJ Green to fly, I can live with that. He looks farther from getting DJ Augustine or Torrey Craig than he did like a week ago. He has been a useful shooting guard who has knocked down shots. Still have some issues with him. Still cannot make a 2 to save his life, but it's progress. So I'm glad to see that. Yeah,
it's really good to see Gary Trent Jr. We knew that he wouldn't have like this slump sustained for long because there is that pedigree of him being a very, very useful like slasher, shooter, shot creator in the NBA. We're still waiting to see that. Like,
Yeah.
I still want to see that, but it's progress. Baby steps. Make some 3-pointers. That's good.
Yeah, get something going.
Yeah, more than just catch and shoot too. Like one dribble off a screen as well. He's starting to make those as well. It's nice. It's steady progress. Maybe by the playoffs he'll be who we need him to be.
Hey, I will say, like, that's the thing about the NBA is you can have this horrible stretch. If you're not eliminated from the playoffs, which again the Bucks clearly not, they're all the way up to ninth. A lot of time to get to a real playoff seed. You gotta round into form by April. And I think we have seen plenty of Bucks teams where they looked great at certain points and they looked terrible in April or May. And I would rather take the lumps now. It's not guaranteed that if you're bad now, you're good later, which we kind of saw last season. But, if they keep playing like this and just their overall play style, moving the ball, moving offensively, active defensively, the rotations just feel like a little earlier every game. They blow one here and there. AJ Green, that's his one red flag. He over-rotates sometimes and leaves a shooter open. Like 1-2 possessions per game max. But overall, the activity, the sharpness has been there. Like this game, they had a bad third quarter. And I said going in halftime, right? Can they not commit a basketball war crime in the third quarter? That's the question. They lost, but it wasn't like some of these other games. They weren't like jogging up and down the court. I just thought they didn't execute as well. There was some turnovers. Chicago shot the ball well. But it still looked better to me. I think they're moving in the very much the right direction of how they're playing and the results. So I'm encouraged to see that.
Doc stopped showing body horror at halftime.
Yeah. Are you an Office watcher?
I have watched The Office, yes.
When Gabe shows the horror films when he's in the show, and it's I don't remember what it's called now. It's just like all real creepy, like rotting food, and it's like one of their later Halloween episodes. That's what Doc was showing.
Yeah, he's like, okay, guys, I don't know if we need to do this at halftime anymore.
It's a really good doc.
I just need to make my voice raspy. That's it.
Yeah. Great story of him and Brook when the Bears lost in the facility.
I missed this. No.
So they both told it, I think independently. I don't even know if they were asked. So Brook is the only one. Stories. They're just telling stories. They're in a good mood. Brook is in the facility shooting. So it started with like Doc saying like Brook's the only guy in there. Like, he's working so hard. And again, we kind of said it. Brook has been phenomenal. Brook has been just everything they need. He always steps up to score when they need it, which I think is just great. I also feel like he's going up to get more rebounds. I feel like they've had a talk about, all right, stop tapping everything. Just go grab it. Like, let's just grab the ball.
You got two big hands.
Yeah, and he only needs one of them, as you could see from the catch on the pass from Giannis. But Brook's in there shooting, and Doc is in like the office grinding his film. Doc, of course, Doc slips in I came to work on a Sunday and almost no one was here. Of course. But I think he's a Bears fan, and he watches the Bears.
Doc's
Packers.
A Bears fan?
He grew up in Illinois, didn't he?
That's fair. Most people go to Marquette do.
Yep. That is a great point. Or was it Indiana?
Is Indiana and a Bears fan? That's concerning.
I don't know. I'm trying to pull it up now.
Doc, Glenn, and
Chicago.
Okay, there.
Chicago Metro. Yeah. Got his nickname from Dr. J, which is cool. Doc is full of lore. Anyway,
it really is.
His head just like goes down while he's like at the table, like when he sees the Bears field goal get blocked. Of course, painful. And Brook comes in to check on him. That was the story.
Oh, is Brook now a Packers fan?
I think there was a video the Bucks put out of like the guys saying Wisconsin terms. They did horrible, but I think he said good things about like cheeseheads generally. So I think so.
I mean, he's been in Milwaukee for 7 years now, which is insane. But
is he from Florida? I mean, the Dolphins don't really inspire holding on to.
He's from Cali.
He's from Cali. Never mind. I don't know why I thought Florida.
Because he's at Disney World a lot.
Yeah, that's probably it. All right, let's do the injuries. We've been avoiding it. We got to get there.
So the big thing, Khris Middleton, Shams Charania report from Milwaukee. Shams was in Milwaukee today.
How do you know?
Because I saw him. So, sources. Bucks Khris Middleton cleared, still ramping up. This is from Shams Charania of ESPN, of course. I'm reading the story. Milwaukee Bucks star Khris Middleton has been medically cleared for a period of time, but is still working to feel physically ready for his season debut from double ankle surgeries in this offseason. Sources told ESPN on Wednesday. I wonder who the source was. Middleton has increased his on-court activity and has consistently completed 3-on-3 play over the past several weeks. This also comes with Eric Name relaying information about Doc Rivers and his quotes about Khris Middleton, and that he's kind of been playing 3-on-3 consistently, but still hasn't progressed onto 5-on-5. Continuing the story, the team is supportive of Middleton as he works toward a return to the court as his best self, but his absence has lasted much longer than people around the organization anticipated. The Bucks are still hopeful Middleton, 33, will participate in some 5-on-5 scrimmages before he returns to game action, but his return will be based on when he feels ready. We also had Mark Jones on the broadcast.
You're wronger than fish grease about who that was.
Mark Jones on the broadcast saying Doc was saying he could be as ready as next week. I don't know where he got that from.
Oh my God, again?
I don't know where he got that
next
from.
Week?
I don't know. I haven't seen that anywhere else. But,
Doc just said it. You know Doc. He fires from the hip.
But I don't know. We're at a point now where it's now confirmed, and we're having ESPN reports about this, that Middleton is cleared. He's ready. According to the Bucks team physicians, he is ready to play NBA basketball. However, Khris Middleton has not been playing even 5-on-5 scrimmages, and has been playing 3-on-3. I do not want to frame this from my personal perspective as me questioning Khris Middleton, as each person knows their own body more than anyone else and should have, the privileges to be able to say what they want about their own body. So I'm not going to say anything negative about Khris Middleton in that regard. However, it's just the optics of this story, right? Yeah.
Yeah, when the first report dropped and he did the article, it's pretty much all the same stuff, of course. And I was like, I just said, no, I don't understand what this means. And a lot of people just copy pasted the tweet, which is objectively funny. So I will tip the cap. That's a funny thing to do. A lot of people then saying, oh, it's just like Embiid. These guys don't want to play. Blah, blah. That's stupid. That's like if you ever listen to Khris or Embiid talk about playing basketball, neither of them chooses not to play. Embiid has a degenerative knee condition, clearly. And Middleton now with these ankles just is not feeling right.
Imagine trying to walk after double ankle surgery. You have to relearn how to walk.
He looked good at Summer League. I really held on to that.
Yeah.
They said his gait at Summer League was great. Not great enough.
That's the line, right? That's what we're talking about. It's how he's walking. We're trying to progress towards playing against some of the best athletes in the world.
Yeah, it's just I can't relate to it enough, I feel like, to speak to it.
Yeah.
I don't get why you wouldn't try a 5-on-5. Again, I'm not questioning Khris. He knows more. I think Khris wants to play really badly. That's been a through line through all of this stuff for Khris. He wants to play. He wants to play more than the Bucks will let him play. I find it a little odd. It must really not be feeling great because we've not even heard they've tried a 5-on-5.
Yeah, the whole situation is kind of odd, right?
Because it's been stuck here. And it makes sense that this report, the Bucks thought it would be earlier. The Bucks were we cleared him. It's just not, he's not ready.
Again, Mark Jones on the broadcast was Khris has been cleared for a month. I was like, where is that timeline?
Wow, he's just Mark Jones. People like Mark Jones. They tell him things. I did not hear that either. Yeah, I agree. I'm not, and that wasn't a negative. I'm just I can see why he finds things out. If I chatted up Mark Jones, I'd probably let something slip too.
Yeah, I'd probably tell him my social security number.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just a bummer. There was never going to be a good reaction to this. I mean, it sucks, obviously. But it's just very strange because, and I don't even really necessarily blame the Bucks for this because again, they feel it's from their view has healed or whatever, at least progressed enough. The timeline was earlier, and he just continually has not felt good enough, and it's. I don't know what you do from there as an org.
Yeah, and it's been weird because the Bucks have not been the ones who have sort of been perpetuating the story in any regard until now. Obviously, it's been like people like us trying to wonder, like, hey,
Yeah.
what's going on with Khris Middleton? And the Bucks and Doc just constantly having to answer and being like saying nothing.
Dude, he is getting a mileage out of the, it's just a nickname, right? Bit. He loves it. He loves
he really
it.
is.
He has progressed to now, like they asked him, I think, about Rollins. He's like, guys, I don't go near the training room. Like when Brook came back in the game.
Maybe you should, Doc.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you're really far away now. Brook comes back in the game, and they're like, did they say, like, what it could be? Or, nope, told me it was good. I said, don't tell me anything else. Like, all right, we get it, Doc. You don't know.
Maybe that's why he has 5,000 assistants, because he doesn't talk to anyone else. The only people he talks to in the organization are his assistant coaches and some of the players.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty full agenda. He's got to go get dinner with Dame, paid for by Dame.
Yeah, I was going to say Dame's paying for it.
He took the fine.
He did take a fine. Do we have to retire the Doc being cheap?
No, he expensed it. He expensed the fine. 100%. Jimmy. See, I don't know why. Mine gets too, like, Dark Knighty. You have a better pure.
Jimmy has some. I'm going to make some comments about the referees in this game. You're going to have to take the fine.
Yeah, 100%. He should, and it's fair. It was a good call out. It honestly did not get the results I expected. The next Houston game out, I thought the whistle was still pretty bad. Didn't think it was great against the Bulls tonight either, but whatever. It was the right thing to do. A lot of people say, you got to take a tech. It was like a 3-point fourth quarter. That's just not a good time to take a tech. I think the fine was a better move. 100%. Regardless.
You got to pull a Fred VanVleet, Ben Taylor.
I saw that clip today, and I watched the whole thing. Not a big Fred VanVleet fan, the way he's torn the heart out of my chest.
The one child I will actively not like.
Yeah. But that's an all-time rant. I mean, all-time, because it's not really a rant. He's like so collected with it.
Oh,
he's
he
like,
knew exactly what he wanted to say.
He's like, that guy just sucks. 1 to 2 refs per night suck, and it's a real bummer because no one. I'm like, yeah, you're not a big fan of you. Just again, I don't dislike it. Or I guess complicated feelings, but I obviously have bad negative association with him.
Obviously, I don't hate his kid. I was just kidding.
All facts. Yeah, we know. You're the sweetheart. We knew you wouldn't hate the kid.
But Khris Middleton. What happens from here, right? Because I think this is the first sign that the fact that this story is getting out is the first sign the organization is like, what's going on?
Or at least that they're like, we can't just keep saying the same thing forever.
Why?
Publicly.
But why now? Because they've been doing that forever and getting away with it. That's the Bucks That's the Bucks organization, Ty. We know this. Is that they will consistently say
not
nothing.
Anymore. It's not anymore. It's a different Bucks organization since the Brook Lopez back surgery days.
Fair, but
it is very different.
They're used to saying nothing.
It's a different person out front. Maybe Doc was like, I can't do that. I need to speak on this. You guys got to make this go away. I'm going to end up revealing 14 personal convos I've had with Khris next availability. I need to talk about this. So like, you know what? We'll take the edge off for you.
I'm gonna detail exactly how the surgery happened.
Yeah. I was there actually.
I was the one operating. Plot twist. I actually am a doctor.
Yeah, that would unfortunately explain quite a bit about the current dilemma.
But what happens from here?
Hopefully he plays soon. But I hope he doesn't rush to play. Hopefully he feels better and can play soon.
Because that's what matters, right? At the end of the day, it's Khris Middleton being healthy playing basketball. We haven't gotten a lot of that in the last 4 years, something like that. It's been a constant. When is Khris going to play? When is Khris not going to play? Unfortunately, not due to anything of his fault or anything like that. It's just been really, really unfortunate and unlucky. His injury history, like my guy slipped on a wet spot in an old practice center, and it's just been rough injury after rough injury from there. But it's been the matter of the fact is we need Khris Middleton to play healthy basketball when it matters, right? And that's like April, May, hopefully June.
Yeah.
Right? That's what matters. It's still November. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. Like, do we really need to rush this now?
No, I mean, I don't know if that's what they're doing necessarily.
Because this is the organization saying, hey, by the way, this is on Khris, which is kind of unprecedented for this organization.
Yeah.
Can you think of any time in the last decade that this sort of thing has happened?
Well, I mean, I can't really think of a similar situation, frankly.
Yeah, but a situation where the organization is, through news media, putting something on a player. It's rough, right? To try to think about that. You can think about it from other teams, other perspectives. Philly does it every week. That happens. That's not a Bucks thing. It's not a Khris Middleton thing. Yeah. Right? Because this is not the first time Khris Middleton's been injured and taken a long time to come back. It isn't. It's the first time this has happened.
Last time, I think. Well, he took a lot. Well, they false started him, and then it took longer. But it seemed like that was the Bucks' plan versus this. Their plan was for him to be playing by now, even if they were ramping him up. So I feel like that's the key difference.
I think that's fair. I just don't know if this was the right move by the org.
Yeah, I mean, it was a satisfying move for us to have some idea of what's going on.
But we still know nothing.
We know more. I think we know. I think we know the deal now.
We know the deal. Do we know when Khris Middleton is coming back more
now? But nobody does. But it's unknowable.
That's what I'm saying. Is we know nothing about Khris Middleton's return, which is what we wanted to know.
Well, we know. Yeah.
We are no closer to knowing when Khris is coming back now, today, when this story dropped, compared to yesterday when the story didn't.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I feel like while we don't know, I mean, it at least eliminates the possibility of there's some setback and he's not medically cleared to play. I think we have functionally more information now. It's just not satisfying because, no one involved knows when he's going to play.
Also, who's he playing 3-on-3 with? That's what I want
to know. I think players.
Who in the Bucks?
I think they're running 3. I mean, they showed him. They don't really show him anymore. They used to show him sweating, with the guys and everything. I haven't seen that in a while. Yeah. I don't know. It's all concerning. The fact that this got leaked is a little concerning, even though, again, I think it's, I don't want to say useful. I don't know if it matters, but
that's the thing. That's what
enlightening information.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter.
None of this matters.
It doesn't.
It's adults playing basketball.
None of this matters in the grand scheme of things. But I'm in the context of Bucks basketball, this doesn't matter.
I think it matters.
I don't know. I think we disagree on that. But I just think the only thing this can do is hurt Khris.
Potentially.
Because now it's out there, right? And he's not oblivious to what goes on in the world. He's a human being.
Yeah.
Now he knows. The entire world knows it's on him.
Did they already? I mean, did we kind of know this already and just didn't attribute it?
No, I think from my perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, and obviously I don't speak for Bucks fans in general. I can only speak for myself. But from my perspective, it's okay, Middleton and the Bucks, it's we're working towards a return. This is a plan that we have in place, and we're not going to do anything. Because the Bucks have such a lauded athletic training staff, deservedly so, or have the reputation of being one of the best in the business when it comes to their performance team. And the performance team from this report is now yep, he's good. But Khris isn't playing. Am I making too much out of nothing?
No, I mean, I think I've seen other people making the same point. I'm looking up of when Khris last talked to reporters.
End of October?
And this was also a while ago. Yeah, it was the last day of October.
This is in the Shams story. It says, I feel good, just not good enough to play. That's all Middleton told reporters near the end of October.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this has kind of been said to a certain extent. I mean, I've been asked this question, I want to say 2 weeks ago on The Score, the great radio station that I do appearances on every week. Shout out to The Score. Is it on Khris or is it on the Bucks? it wasn't directly confirmed, but I think I think there was hints of this at least. I don't know if it's going to negatively affect the situation. Frankly, I guess we'll see. Maybe he gets pissed off about this. But yeah, he said, I feel good, just not good enough to play. That's all. That's really all I can say at this point, and just working to get back on the court. I'm feeling better and better each day, just not good enough to play yet. I mean, that is functionally kind of the same thing. It's just like directly confirmed that he was cleared. That's really the only new information.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because we have had in the past where Khris was like, I can play more. Like, I feel great. It's the plan from the team. Like, we probably should have read more on that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just.
And then Doc said today, like 20 minutes before this story broke, has Khris played 5-on-5? No, but he's been playing 3-on-3 live, and that's been really good. He said he seems to have stalled out at this spot. You've mentioned trying to make sure he's in a good spot mentally and emotionally. So how are you trying to keep him
the Athletic, by the way.
Positive? Yes, thank you. He's been good. I mean, he really has. He's working his butt off. Listen, I think he's close. I think I've said that before, but he is, and he's just going to keep working. This is the best I've seen him. I will say that. It's news. It's shedding more light on the info. It is putting it on Khris. I don't know. I guess they could have just continued doing the same thing. It annoys me when they don't. It annoys me when they do that, though.
It annoys me when they do that, but honestly, this feels worse.
I don't think it feels worse. Personally, I mean, I get where you're coming from. I just think, it's been like a month.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost 20%. Like, what are we? 18 point something percent? 18.29% of the way through the regular season.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah. I also get it from the Bucks perspective, where it's like, fifth of the season.
Well, yeah, and it does, the positive, I guess, silver lining is, there's not been, at least yet, the dreaded setback or, every time you mention Khris, 500 people reply, oh, he's got surgery already, he's out for, people just spiral to the worst possible thing. We know it's not that. He hasn't gotten worse. Like, that's the positive of, he hasn't, like, it's not like, oh, his knee swells up every time or something. Maybe it does, not enough to unclear him, right? It's just he has not been feeling confident enough in the ankles. I said knee, I think. The ankles to play. I mean, that in itself, I think, is some info that could be a positive thing, even though it feels negative because it is kind of like, oh, Khris doesn't feel ready. I don't know.
It's just really unfortunate. That's all.
One last thing per Eric name. While being asked the Bucks being 4-1 in their last 5 games, Doc Rivers interjected the question and said 5-0. Warned that he might get fined again for saying that, Rivers joked, "They can't fine me twice."
They can't fine me twice.
They can fine you twice. I don't think there's
Jimmy Haslam's got the tab.
He's like implying the double jeopardy rule in like the American court system to the NBA. I don't think that's a rule.
I think you can fine many times. Just ask Draymond.
well, I think he's saying like for the same instance, but I don't think that's a rule. I feel like that'd be a big loophole. Every time you think a call sucks, you'd be like, the officiating on November 18th was dreadful, and that's all I've got to say.
Listen, it was dreadful, but
yeah,
it was very bad. It was very not good.
Yeah.
What a wild week of Bucks basketball it's been.
It's been basketball and non-basketball. And then the other injury update, Ryan Rollins, whose status was updated, I think this was also per Eric Name of The Athletic, from shoulder instability to shoulder dislocation, which we kind of expected. Doc on the injury. Not going to do the accent the whole time. Or voice. Yeah, not an accent. Yeah, he's in a tough spot, honestly.
Yeah, he's in a tough spot, honestly.
I think he's going to give it a go. With that injury, you don't have but 2 choices. One is to play and the other is to do surgery. And Ryan, at this point in his career, surgery would be very difficult for him. It's like I'm swearing you into an oath or something. And so I think he's going to try to give it a go. Not today, obviously, but soon.
And so I think he's going to try to give it a go. Not today, honestly, but sometime soon.
Soon. Yeah, just soon. sad news. We hoped it wasn't going to be too major of an injury. Rollins said he was ready to play. It sounds like he will play at some point, but clearly pretty nasty shoulder dislocation. So hopefully he can get out there and, be safe but able to play again, because that, Doc is straight up here. Like, really sucks when you're 2 games into proving that you're an NBA player very positively and get this injury. Like, a surgery right now would be brutal. You don't know where he's going to be playing for next or anything. So, hopefully it doesn't endanger his long-term future, but hopefully more so he can just play and continue to provide that positive impact.
Yeah, hopefully it's not anything like stretched or anything in his shoulder.
Yeah.
It's just, it's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Especially because he was such a promising player with the Bucks and worked his way ahead of seasoned veterans in the rotation already as a two-way player. So it's just unfortunate. Hopefully he can get back on the court soon and continue to play some good, solid basketball for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yep. Last thing from me, Steve Novak, who I've had gripes with in the past. Lisa Byington shares, I thought, a really interesting story about how Bobby Portis was, I believe, I hope I'm getting all the details right, but was getting like inspiration for his free throw routine from Robin Lopez and the way he went about it. I think that's the gist. And Novak cuts in with like a scoffing at this idea and like basically saying like, that's not the guy I would take tips from that. Like,
who do you think you are?
Steve come Novak. On.
What are you doing?
Robin Lopez was, I think now officially, a very good NBA player. An every game starter on very good Portland teams. Was a better New York Knick than you ever were. Also, started 82 games, scored 10 points a night for the Knicks. Though that would be literally a career year for Steve Novak. Like, have some respect for, 1, a Bucks legend, which also had a better Bucks tenure than you ever did. And 2, just like a better NBA player. Like, congratulations, you shot free throws well. The 0.2 times per game you got to the line. Still, I bet have less career makes than Robin Lopez because he stayed on the court and got there and worked out and got through it. So it's just an annoying thing to do, I think.
It's like there's no reason to take a shot like that. Like,
no.
Steve Novak, not known for taking good stances in his personal life.
Yes.
But not known for, one, good commentary on Bucks games. I will actively mute it if he is the color guy for Bucks broadcasts. And just, like, you took, like, 2 shots with the Bucks and your body collapsed. Like, that's what you're doing? Robin Lopez, without playing basketball for the Milwaukee Bucks, Robin Lopez, after he got traded and released last season by the Bucks, reading a book on the Bucks, sitting courtside, was more iconic than any Steve Novak moment.
I'll go a step farther. That brought more to a Bucks broadcast than any time Steve Novak has been sitting in that vicinity, which is where the broadcasters sit as well. So I mentioned I would guess Robin Lopez has more made free throws than Steve Novak. Not only that, Robin Lopez has 4 seasons with as many or more made free throws as Steve Novak's NBA career. So congrats on that shooting form, but Robin was able to get there and make a lot more. Maybe it was supposed to be playful, didn't come off as playful. The comment really just grated me. I was like, when do you ever tune into a broadcast where they're like, you know what? Let's dump on a beloved former player whose twin brother is still a great player on the team.
By the way, head-to-head, Robin Lopez has won the matchup.
Not surprised.
It's just like... Also, Robin Lopez has played 525 more games than you, Steve Novak.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. Almost doubled your points. Crushed you in rebounding. Assists, like, it's just shooting percentage, just whatever, like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I didn't like that one bit. So hopefully the free throw thing works for Bobby Portis, and hopefully we get Marcus Johnson back for the next game.
Hopefully, we can only hope.
Yeah, that was. This didn't rub me the wrong way. Anyway, the Bucks have. I don't even know if you know this, Rohan.
Do you know how many games that Steve Novak has started in his NBA career?
Is it 4?
It's 6.
Okay,
do you know how many games Robin Lopez has started in his NBA career?
I do. It's literally 100 times that many.
607.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like
do you know how many points Steve Novak has scored in his NBA career?
No, I don't.
2,177. Do you know how many points Robin Lopez has scored in his NBA career? 8,326.
Wow.
Crazy.
You don't have to keep. Let's move on. Let's leave this. This behind.
If you want to talk about shooting, do you know what Steve Novak's career true shooting percentage is? It's 61.6. Robin Lopez at 57.4 is not far behind you, Steve Novak.
Thought it was going to be better. Okay.
It's 4.2%.
Yeah. Moving on. Because we could literally do this all day. And it's not worth it. 3 of the Bucks' next 5 games are their final NBA Cup seeding games. So we will find out
Wait, really?
Yep.
What is this schedule?
We will find out by Tuesday, December 3rd. There's also a lot of off time. They did the really weird schedule loading to start the year. But Tuesday, December 3rd is their last one against the Pistons. Their next 5 games. Friday, home Pacers, a cup game. Then back-to-back Saturday, also home Hornets, not a cup game. It's only Tuesdays and Fridays. Then the next Tuesday against Heat on the road. It's now the Kaseya Center, apparently, is a cup game.
It's been the Kaseya Center for a few years.
Wasn't it the Crypto like last year?
That was like 2 years ago.
Oh. Wizards home Saturday, not a cup game. And then Tuesday, road Pistons is a cup game. If you will remember, the Bucks are actually now second in Group B because the Pistons have played another game. They do have the best point differential in the group, so beat the Pistons and probably one other and you'll get there. And obviously, if you win all 3, you are guaranteed to go to Vegas and have a shot to have a hopefully much better performance in the second inaugural NBA Cup. And I know there's a sponsor attached to it, not a sponsor of this podcast, so it is the NBA Cup here.
I like that. I like it. I love how it's the blank NBA Cup sponsored by blank and second blank is a different company.
Pathetic. Come on.
It's just great. No, I just loaded up the NBA app, hit the NBA Cup thing in the middle. It's like blank NBA Cup sponsored by blank 2.
I'd be mad if I was either one of those companies that we won't name.
Yeah, honestly, no free edits. Unless we just are just talking.
Yeah.
But no, the Bucks really do have a good chance to go back to Vegas. They, have these next couple games when they are currently in the midst of a winning stretch. Yeah. 4 out of their last 5 games.
Their best ball of the season by far. 5 of 5 if you ask Doc Rivers.
Yeah, 5 of 5. They should be 5 of 5, honestly.
Yeah.
It should be 7 and 9. Whatever. It's fine. But yeah, the Pacers, like we mentioned up top, are not playing very well as of late. The Hornets, the Bucks should have beaten, but that's not a cup game. The Heat are,
sputtering.
Yeah. The Wizards are the Zards, and the Pistons, the Bucks had a good game. I'll tell you what, my Pistons stock is starting to pay off a little bit. Slowly but surely. They're still not great. Well, I wouldn't even say good, but they're better.
They're not
they're not objectively the worst team in basketball.
7th in the East at 7 and 9.
Hey, you know what? The Bucks are looking up at the Pistons right now.
For now.
I'll tell you what. By that time they play on December 3rd, the Pistons might be looking up at the Bucks. I'll say that.
I mean, you'd hope so. They're only half a game apart right now.
Yeah, you really hope so.
I would hope they can make up that ground, unless the Pistons go on a win streak too, which is possible. But yeah.
But again, this continues the stretch of middling teams that the Bucks are playing that really helps them try to get back into these standings and win these games. But yeah, the NBA Cup, this is a competitive environment where the Bucks really, honestly, their first cup game, against the Raptors, you could tell they felt like it was a competitive spirit. Honestly, I think the NBA Cup is really beneficial to the Bucks this season. It's
great. I think it's just good for everything. You tune into those games, and they are good games almost every time.
They really are, but it really showcases how the Bucks play in competitive environments and forces everyone to play well. And you start to learn from those good habits. Traditionally, in the playoffs, teams build as they start to do that. However, now that you get those games earlier, you start to build those good habits and maintain that throughout the regular season. Hopefully, I mean, ideally, but you start to see that early, and it helps a team like the Bucks, who has been struggling, try to get that winning streak going. I mean, they started this 4 out of 5 winning streak started with the Raptors win as an NBA Cup game, and they sort of took off from there. Like, that was their first double-digit win of the season or something like that. It felt like it.
It was 99-85, which is crazy.
Competitive basketball game. Like, very hard, not competitive because it was 14, but like hard-nosed game. Neither team gets to 100 points. I'm glad the Bucks have these cup games, and I'm glad they have 3 out of 4 of them.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch them. Hopefully, 3 out of the next 5. Yeah. I'm excited to watch those games. It should be a high level of basketball, and just excited to hopefully see the Bucks get to go back to Vegas and get some revenge. I mean, Pacers probably won't be there. It seems like we'll see, but for how things went last time.
Yeah, and plus it's just good. Hey, again, if they win the NBA Cup, that's awesome.
It's a successful season according to one Rohan Katti.
I'll tell you what. Yes.
Okay. Based on
you
how we felt
you get a ring,
ago,
don't you?
I think so. Based on how you felt a week ago.
You get to hang a banner, don't you?
It would feel better. They make you hang the banner. The Lakers tried to say no, and Adam Silver was like, "No, you're hanging the banner. You're hanging the banner. You're hanging the banner.
This
You're proud
is legacy."
Of this. Darvin knows what to do there.
Darvin, he has that NBA Cup pedigree. No other coach in the NBA does.
No other coach in NBA history has won as many NBA Cups. Imagine if they win this year.
Oh my God. Darvin Ham, 2-time NBA Cup champion.
Wow. That's legacy.
Honestly, it might be. Like, you got to start somewhere.
Probably not the legacy he was looking for when he signed with the
Lakers. I mean, he is
an
NBA champion with the Bucks.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, that is also... So there's legacy there.
That's a good point.
Do we have any other NBA things we need to talk about tonight?
I think that's it from me.
Cool. Give us a herd update.
Yeah, I have caught 2 of their first 3 games. They are 0-3. So the vets everyone was excited about. Henry Ellenson makes the AmeriCup select team. So he is playing for the U.S. in one of these international competitions. I think he will not be back until end of November, early December. Justice Winslow gets hurts his hamstring in the first game. He is like kind of week to week at this point, potentially day to day at this point in time. And then Terrence Davis still recovering from the Achilles. He is hoping to debut in early December. So they've been a little shorthanded until this week's game that I covered in person. They also didn't really have any of the two-ways. I believe they didn't have the two-ways, and they only had A.J. Johnson in the first game. I will say A.J. had a really nice game as well, kind of bounced back after a slow start against the Sioux Falls Skyforce on Tuesday. But Stanley Umude looked great, really knocked down shots, played good defense, and Khris Livingston did as well. So excited to see more of those guys. Tyler Smith had some fun moments as well. There's certainly going to be, I think until they get some of those vets they signed back, it's going to be uphill sledding because, I think Umude is good. I think a lot of the other guys are still, they're getting their seasoning down there. They don't necessarily know how to win at this level yet. And that's just going to make it tough. But I think it's an exciting team to watch when they do have any of those assignment players. And it should be all the time once Winslow, Davis, and Ellenson are back.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of good things that you can take from an 0-3 team, right? I think the biggest thing that I've seen is Khris Livingston really going out. Have you seen anything that really you could see translating to an NBA level?
He had a great strip steal on the perimeter, guarding on the perimeter, and that's one of the things I'm looking for from him is how active can you be? How much can you keep up? Because he's he's pretty big now. He's a bigger guy, so how much on the perimeter can you guard? And it's okay if you can't go down to 1 or 2, but on threes, he had a really nice moment there. He's really just been relentless attacking the glass. So I hope we get to see him on the NBA at some point this year because he certainly is putting on a show at the G League level.
Hey, that's great to see. Plus, you get to catch up with some players, which is on our YouTube. Yeah,
so Gyro Step Podcast Network YouTube channel, Stanley and Liam, which I got to ask him about winning the two-way job from Big AP and all these other things, which is cool to get to ask those guys stuff that we chat about here on the pod.
Liam Robbins' NBA debut tonight, was it? Or had he gotten some minutes?
Oh, that's a good question. I think he had played before. Yeah, I think him and Umude had both played before.
I don't know.
He
has,
yeah. Yeah, this is his fourth game.
Whoops. You know what? His fourth game, that's worth celebrating.
Exactly. How's Marjan played 9 games this year?
Because the Bucks have lost a lot of games by a lot of
that's
games.
Yep, that is I reflected on that and figured it out right away. So
yeah, they have lost by double digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times this season.
And on that note,
not
in the last 5.
Not in the last 5. There was a 1-point loss to Charlotte. Got some double-digit wins in there. I mean, you get the Toronto win, you get this Bulls win. Those are some double-digit wins. Things are looking up for the Bucks, as we talked a lot about as we end on a downer. But it's been fun being back. We say back. 9 days is a long time for us. Before that, we did 2 pods in 3 days.
I was gonna say, I don't think we're gonna go 9 again anytime soon.
No, it's not really our tempo.
No.
But it's been a pleasure. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Gyro Step here on Blue Wire and GSPN, presented by our great friends over at PrizePicks. Let's grow that to 100 million users.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that. But make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening to or watching this podcast. If you want a commercial-free feed, go to gspn.info. Sign up for GSPN Premium, exclusive pods, exclusive written content, all that fun stuff. $8 a month supports the team. And just wherever you're listening or watching, make sure you subscribe. Telling your family and friends about the show. Love hearing about new listeners. Love meeting listeners out in the wild. It always makes my day. I feel like it happens a lot, which is just so cool.
Famous Rohan.
Hey, listen, small Milwaukee, man, but it always makes my entire week when that happens. But yeah, appreciate everyone for listening. Odd random, and we'll talk to you next time.